On this week's Show of Shows, we're talking if Pacific Rim can have another uprising at the box office. Daniel Bryan's return to WWE, Captain America's exit from the MCU, and what would our life be like without pop culture? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back for another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I want to thank you for checking in with us each and every week. We truly appreciate it. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is the creator, the mastermind, and the all-in-one great guy of Humanica Media. You got to check out their great stuff today at humanicamedia.com. Also on YouTube, Podbean, and Apple Podcasts. It's Josh Peterson. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, just putting these top lists together. Thank you to those of you who have submitted yours. We much appreciate it. Well, the results here soon.
Absolutely, indeed. We want to thank everybody who in the past couple days has contributed with their top 10 lists for the best video games of all time. We're compiling a list right now as far as what the top video games of all time, in your opinion, out there is, and we'll throw some of our tidbits in there as well. We're going to be creating this huge master list that we're going to be actually showcasing very soon in the near future up on our site. Plus also as well, we're going to be doing a breakdown of it in future episodes of the Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse as well. Well, it's going to be a great show we have for you out there today. We've got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. We're going to go mano a mano in the Cosmic Crossfire over God of War, and how we have differing opinions on exactly what we're excited for and not so excited for when it comes out to this impending blockbuster coming to the PlayStation 4. Plus, also as well, we've got Billy Donnelly of Intelligent Wrestling Conversations. It's available on Apple Podcasts. You got to get it today and listen to a great episode they've got each and every week. He's going to be talking to me about the return of Daniel Bryan to the WWE and World Wrestling Entertainment rings, his arrival back from a 2-year forced retirement due to injuries. Is it the right thing for him to come back to the ring? Yes or no? Yes or no? We're going to be talking about that and a little bit more in regards to the Daniel Bryan situation as he returns to the ring and makes it probably at this year's WrestleMania, coming up a little bit later in the show as well. Plus, Josh and I are going to be talking about Captain America's impending exit out of the MCU, and also as well what our lives would be like without pop culture. But Josh, first off, it's another great weekend at the box office. We might actually at the end of it have a brand new box office champion here domestically as Pacific Rim Uprising debuts in theaters. In fact, I'm sure it's going to be doing great overseas. It probably will do very, very strong once again, as the first movie did in China, and overseas as well. It should do very well. But here in the States, we kind of got a mixed bag. The reviews are kind of mixed as well. It's still targeting around what Tomb Raider did last week at around $25 million, which should still be enough to overtake Black Panther as the #1 movie here in the States. So I ask you, Josh, what are your thoughts on Pacific Rim Uprising, a movie which we thought might not get made because of the fact that it didn't really resonate with a North American audience?
I mean, I'm glad it exists. I'm gonna go see it. It was weird. I liked the first one and I didn't like the first one, and then at first, like, I wasn't sold on seeing the new one, and then with each trailer they made for it, I kind of got more into the idea of going to see it. So I might go check it out this weekend, but it's got giant monsters fighting giant robots, and like people shouldn't really expect much of a story from that, but just expect to go in and be entertained. And I think that right now in this in between Black Panther and Avengers, that's all you can really ask for, is to go see a movie that entertains you. And I hope it does well. I mean, I hope it does decent numbers, enough to I don't know, not garner a sequel, or maybe it will, but just enough to make the movies worth going to for people.
Well, I'm worried about a lot of recycled formulas that they already used in the previous Pacific Rim iteration. I know a lot of the reviews have pretty much said as much, not finding anything truly original in the sequel that stands out. Uh, John Boyega is the star of this one, taking over taking over the reins of what was previously a different star set as far as the top stars are concerned. Is that going to be something that might actually gain a better interest for you, with John Boyega obviously coming off the fame from the Star Wars movies? Is that something that might endear you more to come and go and see the movie Pacific Rim Uprising this weekend? Or is it just the fact that, like you said, it's just more monsters battling much more robots and destroying more cities in return?
I'm not like huge on the John Boyega, bandwagon. He was good in Star Wars, but I just was not, I'm not like overly impressed with him. Like I wasn't as impressed with his acting as say I was when I first saw Sam Worthington, and I was like, that guy's gonna be huge. And then he sold the soul to James Cameron, and he wasn't. But yeah, no, John Boyega is cool. I would have much rather saw what happened to what's his name's character,
Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam. Yeah, I would have much rather saw what happened to him, but I get it. He's busy doing. I think it's King Arthur when that was shooting. No, but I mean,
Let's not talk about King Arthur.
let's talk about King Arthur. But look at it this way: they have, it's basically a mashup of two movies that have literally no like evolved plot at all. It's a mashup of Transformers and the Godzilla series. So neither of those two movies has any like plot development at all, yet people still go flock to see them. So I for one am super curious about how this is going to do in terms of box office numbers, because I know the last one everyone kept saying, "Oh, that was stupid," but it did decently, right? It didn't. I mean, obviously, it did enough to garner a sequel, but
just barely enough, in my opinion. Like I said, domestically, it did okay. I think right around the 100 million mark, but it really scored well in China, and I think that's what they're basing it off of this time around.
right. And it does. The critics, of course, the critics are gonna kind of bash this movie and say, "Oh, there's no plot" or whatever, because it's not their style movie. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm gonna start doing reviews on critic reviews. I feel like somebody needs to take that march. But no, this is going to be one of those movies that you just go to be entertained. And like, this is everybody's childhood dream, is giant robots fighting giant monsters. It's like every kid who ever grew up watching Robotech or Gundam, they're going to be the ones that go to see this movie. This is the movie that's made for them.
Well, I definitely liked the first one. I really, cheesiness aside, I think it was very good for me as far as when it dealt with Hunnam, Idris El main crew as far as it's concerned. When it went to the side characters, it got a little bit corny from there. But Guillermo del Toro, coming off that Academy Award-winning movie, The Shape of Water, he is back in a producer role for this one. So definitely a lot of people are excited to see his involvement still with this series. That being said, if it does more than $25 million here in North America, then it should become a win for the actual movie itself, because I think it will still do very strong numbers overseas. And that could necessitate a third movie in this trilogy if that should materialize. But we'll have to wait and see. It still comes in between. It's being sandwiched, like we talked about last week, in that three triplet of movies each week, which have I'd say maybe double A, not full blown triple A blockbusters, but we saw last week with Tomb Raider. Now we've got Pacific Rim Uprising, and next week Ready Player One. One of those movies should break out as far as being a decent hit. My money's still on Ready Player One, but Pacific Rim Uprising, if it scores really big overseas, it could actually be the one of those three that actually comes out on top.
Right, and let's not forget that Avengers was originally scheduled to come out a week later, so I don't know if they were, they were planning on that. But, like I said with Tomb Raider, it's just nice to see a non-Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm property kind of capture the imagination of audiences, because we're going to reach a point, I've said this before, we're going to reach a point where not only is Disney going to be monopolizing here, but you're going to have a period where one of their movies' box office numbers are going to keep flowing into the next release by them, and so on and so forth. So it's just refreshing to see a movie hopefully hit well with audiences, whether it's going to be this one or Ready Player One. It's just going to be nice to see, there is somebody that can stand up against the might of Disney.
That's hopefully will play out indeed with at least one of these movies that will become a hit. Like I said, I think Ready Player One will be just that hit, but Pacific Rim Uprising, with the fact that it's already a well-known sequel to a movie that did okay at the box office the first time around, could do even better this time around, especially if it hits big overseas. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, and we'll definitely give you the scorecard on what happens on our Monday show, and have the fallout or Monday morning quarterback on actually what happens to Uprising as it hits theaters this weekend. What are your Pacific Rim Uprising? Are you going to catch it at the theaters? Are you going to wait until home video? Or are you even interested that this kaiju movie is going to be coming out at all? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, like I said, we've got a great show for everyone out there today. We've got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. Plus also as well, we've got Billy Donnelly from Intelligent Wrestling Conversation. He's going to talk to me a little bit later about Daniel Bryan. And we're also going to be chatting about Captain America and a lot more. It's definitely a great show indeed. But first, we've got our good friend. Who should I throw on there? Did I throw Chad or Elijah on the last time?
I think it was Elijah last time.
Okay. Well, I should throw Warren, but I don't have his stuff yet. So, because your computer falls down, your computer blows up, you lose a lot of stuff. So I have to see if I can download Warren stuff here for next week. So, okay. So for right now, what I'm going to do is throw your good friend, Josh. His name is Chad. He is the man behind Hyperschmidt. And this is After All. And this is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast as always, and cannot thank you enough for doing so. Once again, we want to make sure and say thank you to everybody who's contributed with the top 10 list. If you want to help us out with our feature on the top video games of all time, send us your list. Here's how you do it. Send us your top 10 list, not your 1, not your 5, but your top 10 list in order, either 1 to 10 or 10 to 1, and send it to us anytime in the next couple weeks here, either to popculturecosmos at yahoo.com or Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, or Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. You can send it to us any one of those three ways. We're more than happy to add you in. We're going to compile a list. We're going to have a big, huge, all-encompassing your thoughts on the top video games of all time. We're going to have a feature on that coming up real soon. If you want to listen to our show and you're not sure exactly always where to hit our show up at, hey, it's no problem. We're on 7 days a week on online radio. We've got We've got our great friends at Airwave Radio in the UK, Good Talk Radio out of Arizona, Croc Radio out of Canada, Grey Cloud Radio, the Podcast Radio Network, our good friends, and our good friend John Sweeney, who runs it out there, and our original home. So we cannot thank him enough for allowing us to do it, because wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him and his great network. Also, as well, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting. You got to give all their stuff a great try as well, because they're a great station. And of course, there's so many ways that you can download our and also IPM Nation and their IPM Nation 1 channel. You got to listen to them as well when it comes on Mondays and Fridays. So if you want to check the days, because again, we're playing on online radio 7 days a week, you just check our homepage on Facebook at Pop Culture Cosmos. Plus, if you want to go ahead and subscribe today on any one of these channels and download our shows, you can do so, because we're available to download at any point in time. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Weeby Geeks Radio Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, Gonna Geek Network, ESO Network, Tangemount Network, Podchaser, Podbean, Anchor FM, Mixcloud, and over. Well, I counted at least 25, possibly even 30 different podcast networks where you can get our program. Even more than that, if it catches all the iTunes and Apple Podcast stuff. So I'll tell you what, there's so many ways to get our show, and we just cannot thank you enough for doing so. And if you download our shows, our downloadable shows always have extra content just for listening, whether it's Humanica Media, Voice from the Underground, something from Rob McCallum, or a lot of other sources. We just like to throw in some extra stuff to say thank you for downloading our program. Josh, you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media, so tell me, please, what's going on with your great concept known as Humanica Media?
Yes, so a new episode of What About This just came out yesterday. A new episode of Topicocalypse dropped this morning, and there's going to be a new episode of Super BS probably going out here within the next 11 minutes if my friend Brian is on time. So definitely check all of those out, as well as our show on the Podcast Radio Network every Tuesday at 6:30, 5:30. What time is it on?
Well, I thought it was at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, but sometimes he does play you earlier at the Podcast Radio Network. So check local listings at their Facebook page, the Podcast Radio Network, where you'll also find the listings for our Monday and Friday shows. The Pop Culture Cosmos show, usually 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Also, as well, on Fridays, the PCC Multiverse at 7 p.m. Eastern, usually. So, but you always want to check just to make sure. So, Josh, I know you got wind of this, as did I. Chris Evans, in recent interviews in the New York Times, and was like put out everywhere in the universe right afterwards, has already talked about how he has finished filming his final scenes as an Avenger, as Captain America, barring any reshoots later this fall for the second Avengers movie coming in 2019, which would actually be Avengers 4. I want to ask you, he pretty much indicated in that interview that he looks like he's going to be hanging up. His contract is finito, and he said he didn't want to become too old for it, where they had to drag him out. He said he wanted to get out while the getting's good and all that, which is fine, kumbaya. But I ask you, Josh, is he really leaving the MCU, and is Captain America actually going to be finished as an entity within the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It's the MCU. They can always bring him back, but I get where he's coming from. He's actually a very talented writer-director. I don't know if you've seen any of his indie stuff on Netflix, but he's got a lot of talent. And I think that this is going to give him time to kind of pursue that other thing, those other passions, and kind of show the world that he's more than just, a superhero. But I don't, it depends. We don't know how things are going to play out in Avengers 4. What are they going to kill him? Are they going to do some kind of weird time warp, or whatever happens? It seems like it would be foolish to make it so he can't come back. Just because, like we were discussing before the show, if if the Marvel films ever did reach a place where they started to get stagnant, they could just say, "Hey, we're bringing, Iron Man or Captain America back," and that would get crowds back into the movie theaters. But he can't play him forever. We got so much, especially with after Infinity War, we're gonna have so many heroes going into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we have Sebastian Stan, who's still contracted. I want to say for another 4 movies, so he's I can see him picking up the mantle of Captain America, and then everyone's comparing Brie Larson's Captain Marvel to Captain America. So maybe she's going to be the next team leader. I think what we're going to see after Infinity War and Avengers 4 is a complete breakdown of the structure of the MCU as we know it, and a building of new teams, kind of like we did after the.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you repeat that part about Brie Larson? Start from Brie Larson again, because it hit lag and I just got like bits and pieces of it. I do apologize. And by the way, Captain Marvel is coming out before the next Avengers movie in 2019. I don't know if it was you I was talking to or someone else, but yeah, I wanted to make that mention as well.
Okay, yeah. So everyone's comparing Brie Larson's Captain Marvel to Captain America. So I think what we're going to see after Avengers 4 is a restructuring, and they've kind of said this already, a restructuring of the MCU as we know it. If you're a comic book fan, I would compare it to maybe the Avengers disassembled. We lost Iron Man, went through some stuff. We lost Thor for a long time until after Civil War. Captain America disappeared. We had the new Avengers lineup, which had Spider-Man, Wolverine, so on and so forth, and that was just the new team of the Avengers for a while. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing here. And Sebastian Stan, he chances are he's going to take up the mantle of Captain America, or they're going to be incorporating him more into the Black Panther world. We don't really know this yet. But we're going to see new teams, and we can't have, you shouldn't expect to see, as much as I love Captain America, Iron Man, all those guys. I hope to see Thor, stick around maybe for a bit. But as much as we love these characters, in order for the MCU to evolve, especially after 2021 movies, we're going to need to see some new blood on the screen, even if that means putting some characters on the shelf for just a little bit.
Are you there? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Why? What's up?
Oh, you dropped out of right after new characters.
Oh, I mean, my internet, is it my internet or is it your internet? Mine, I got full.
It might be my internet. So
Okay.
You said right after new characters on.
Wait, what?
You said right after new characters on the.
Oh, I honestly, man, I have no idea. I just said we're gonna need to see some new characters on the screen in order to keep things fresh. So I don't remember anything else other than that.
Okay, fair enough. I think I could piece together something out of that. All right. Well, yes, that sounds like a plan. I'm hoping that's the case. Now, you never know. Jane Foster had her turn as Thor in the latest comic book. So, could that mean a sign for things to come for a different Thor here in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I'm just throwing that out there. I know she said she's. I know. What's her name? Oh, what's her name?
Natalie Portman?
Yes, I know Natalie Portman has indicated she's willing to come back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Maybe she'd come back as Thor. You never know. But I'm obviously that's a little bit of a jest, but you never know. You never know. She could come back and play that role because like now it's being played off as that in the comic books on the latest Thor comic book. So you never know what may happen. But there's definitely some great signs for the future. But at least for right now, Chris Evans as Captain America looks to be not being a part of it, which after the Avengers 4 that we'll be seeing in May 2019 it looks unfortunately like his time will be done with Captain America and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is a shame. I'm hopefully they'll leave a loose open ending for him that he will, allow for return, like you said, in case they need him or in case he wants to or desires to come back to it. But like you said, it looks like Sebastian Stan or even Anthony Mackie could take up the role as Captain America, which would be a great turn as well for the series if that's the case. And let's hope that either Captain Marvel, Captain America, or Iron Man, or there'll be some type of entity we can actually embrace just as well as Chris Evans in Captain America down the road. And let's hope that this works out for those watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward after Avengers 4 in 2019. What are your thoughts on Chris Evans leaving the Captain America role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? He's pretty much said it is time for him to leave. Are you happy with it? Are you kind of sad like we are? Do you think it's a good move, or do you think that something should be done to hopefully keep him in the role, or keep at least Captain America a vital part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanic Media, and Game Store, Facebook and Twitter as well. When we return, we've got Billy Donnelly from Intelligent Wrestling Conversations. He's actually coming up right after the break to talk Daniel Bryan's return to a WWE ring. Is it the right move for him and the WWE? We're going to share our thoughts on that. And also as well, later in the broadcast, Josh and I are going to be talking, what if there was no such thing as pop culture in our lives? What would we be doing? We're going to answer that question when we come back later on the program. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos. We cannot thank you so much for being part of the PCC Multiverse. I'm here along with my good friend Josh Peterson of Humanity Media. Thanks so much to Billy Donnelly of Intelligent Wrestling Conversation for being part of the program, and also as well Rob McCallum from Rob McCallum Films and robmccallumfilms.com. Check out all of his great stuff there today as well. Josh, I've said it from the outset here on the program. I was talking about at the end that we would create a scenario. So I ask you, we've been doing this thing with pop culture now, closing in on 2 years. 2 years of talking about it. We've talked about various pop culture stuff over the course of our various lives at many points of stretch where you and I both have interacted, and pop culture has been so much a part of our lives. But what if pop culture and all the things that we truly endear ourselves to was not a part of our daily regular life? What would that be like for Josh? As far as a life without pop culture and without all the things that you truly know and care about today?
It would be a very boring life. I honestly, like, because my brain doesn't work. It doesn't work mechanically. It doesn't work, in the way that an engineer or someone's brain would work. My brain works in, across the spectrums of the imagination. And if I didn't have stuff to kind of propel that forward, I don't know what I would do. I just curl up into a ball in a corner somewhere and just rock back and forth, I think. Because a lot of what I do, like even the stuff that I write is it's not encouraged, but it's inspired by pop culture. Vendetta Dark, that book, it's inspired by detective novels and Spider-Man comics, and even Congratulations You Suck is inspired by John Green writing, Jonathan Tropper stuff, 90s teen, 90s raunch-coms. It's all this stuff in pop culture is what keeps my universe circling around. So without it, like, and even still, like, growing up, nobody in my family really cared about anything pop culture. They were all super boring. They're all mechanics and engineers and stuff like that. So I was pretty much alone. And, I look back and I think if I didn't care about pop culture, I don't know. I wouldn't be one of them. I wouldn't be one of the, like, a drone, but like at the same time, I don't know what my function in life would be. I would, because you go back and like a lot of even like classic literature is now considered pop culture. You know, you go back to books, you know, Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe. Like a lot of this stuff has been translated into pop culture in various aspects. So, you know, if we didn't even have that, geez, I can't even imagine. We'd be like Equilibrium, you know, that movie with Christian Bale where nobody's able to think or feel anything. They just kind of walk around and do their thing from day to day. Dude, that'd be a terrible existence. You know, just even you asking me this question just depressed me. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I will say this for me, there have been points in my life where I could not pay attention as much to what's going on in pop culture. I could not go ahead and enjoy certain things in my life because I know at some points in my life where I've had to work 2 or 3 jobs at the same time where my life was so focused on what I was doing or had 50, 60, 70 hour work weeks, even more. I was never really, those points in time I had to stay focused on what I was doing and was not able to be able to utilize pop culture as what it was meant for. And that's such a great outlet for myself and a great way to connect with others. And it for me, I just kind of with video game sales, and I was running game stores, and it was really good for a little while, and I was able to talk video games all day long, which was great when you're being paid for it. But it really wasn't until the growth of my daughters, who have come to love pop culture, that I really gained a new life and a new reaffirmation of my interest in all things pop culture. So I've got to give credit to both my daughters for gaining and inspiring that, and also my wonderful wife for really getting me involved as far as from Lord of the Rings to all these, also as well her fascination and love with Harry Potter, Twilight, and other series like that. Her love and passion for those outlets of pop culture has inspired me to seek the same in other aspects of pop culture. And like I've said before, my girls became fascinated with the Marvel Cinematic Universe from an early age of their lives, and it only has given me inspiration to follow suit and go back and check out the earlier editions of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and thus become a major fan of the series as well. So I cannot thank pop culture enough for being part of my life. In fact, Lord of the Rings, if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for Lord of the Rings and J.R. Tolkien's work and the great movies that were made by Peter Jackson, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have my wife and I wouldn't have my kids, because that's something we bonded on as a husband and wife early on. And then also as well, we wouldn't have named our 2 daughters after characters within the Lord of the Rings realm. So pop culture has now become a great part of my life. I'm happy, and I'm truly blessed to be able to talk about it with you and everyone out there twice a week on this great show of ours. So definitely it pleases me to no end. But there have been points in my life where pop culture, for whatever reason, could not be a focus in my life. And I look back upon those times and I think, like you, man, dude, I was pretty darn boring. That's all I can say. It's just it was pretty dull. And without pop culture in your life, without something to really enjoy or an outlet for yourself and for your life and a way to escape it, it just it just makes life really boring, man, and just it makes life a process. And that shouldn't be what it's all about. Pop culture is there for you as an escape, and pop culture should always be there for you as a way to enjoy life and enjoy it to the fullest.
And I would even go as far as to say that pop culture should inspire real life because look at what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX. You know, if not for Star Wars, Star Trek would like these are the things that truly revive man's interest in exploring the cosmos because especially with like the government defunding NASA and everyone's losing interest in the space race. We're just, after especially after the moon landing, it just kind of died out. Nobody really imagined what it would be like to spread out amongst the cosmos anymore. And then Elon Musk comes around, and all of a sudden we're like imagining. Can you imagine what that would be like if it was like Star Wars or Lost in Space? We go out and try to colonize, but then we end up finding dangerous new worlds and adventure and all that.
Well, that would be awesome indeed, especially after going to maybe Mars or colonizing new planets or even going out there and just exploring new galaxies out there. And that would be definitely a great thing to do. And a lot of it, like you said, can be attributed to our love for pop culture. And hopefully our love will grow further as a society and as a culture, and hopefully grow society and a culture, and hope that everybody starts to understand and appreciate what's out there in pop culture as you and I do on a weekly basis. So any last thoughts on the way out, my friend, before we head on out into our own pop culture cosmos?
Oh yeah, I am playing Lost Sphere on Nintendo Switch, and I am loving every minute of it. It's like a, uh, I don't know, it's like a, it kind of takes me back to the days of the top-down Final Fantasy games, and I'm loving it. So we can talk about that more later. But just a heads up, I am playing it, and also we're going to be streaming Sea of Thieves here soon. We'll keep you guys updated on the old Facebook page. So keep an eye out.
Absolutely. If you're on the fence on Sea of Thieves and whether or not it's a game for you, check our stream out upcoming here. We'll probably do it sometime pretty soon in the near future. We'll give you a heads up on that, like Josh said, on our Facebook and Twitter programs. And I believe also you got another game for the Xbox One as well, another entry in the battle royale genre coming up soon as well.
Yes,
The Darwin Project, if I remember
yeah.
correctly.
Yes, so be looking out for that too. So we'll see if it can hold its own against PUBG and Fortnite. But yeah, I'll let you guys know.
And also as well, we've got a lot of great things coming to our sites, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. I know Josh, has talked about doing some reviews and whatnot coming up, but also as well, we've got, if you get a chance and you're on the fence on The Alienist on TNT, which on Monday will have its final episode of the season, whether or not to binge it, please read my article on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com on The Alienist and why it is a show you must binge, and it is well worth your time. It is definitely a great crime mystery type show that each and every week gets more and more suspenseful, and just it's coming to a great conclusion that I'm going to be able to see on Monday, and I hope a lot of the other people as well. It's one of TNT's most popular shows right now, so I'm definitely happy for it. It looks like it may even be coming back for another season, so we'll have to wait and see. But The Alienist on Monday, check it out. Check your local listings for times, because it's coming this Monday to TNT, and check out my article on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com why The Alienist is a show you must binge. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you so much for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day.